Susu stood at a distance, removed a small charm wrapped in red cloth, and began to whisper words that did not belong to this world. The air thickened. The birds went silent. Maui turned, confused. "Susu?" she called. "What are you doing here?" Susu did not answer. She raised her hand, and before Maui could scream, her body twisted, her bones folded. Where Maui once stood, a goat collapsed onto the soil, bleating in terror. Susu stepped forward calmly, her face blank. "You wanted peace," she whispered. "Enjoy it." She dragged the goat deeper into the bush and tied it to a tree near the edge of the land, where farmers kept animals temporarily. Then she wiped her hands, straightened her wrapper, and walked back home. That evening, Linus noticed Maui hadn't returned. By nightfall, panic filled the compound. "Where is your mother?" Linus asked Twinkle. Twinkle's heart dropped. There lived a wealthy man named Linus. He was known far and wide, not just for his riches, but for his vast farmlands that stretched beyond the hills, his inherited lands, his barns filled with harvest, and his large compound that never lacked food. Linus had 2 wives. The first wife was named Susu. The second wife was named Maui. From the outside, the family looked complete, comfortable, and blessed. But inside the compound, jealousy slept and woke with the first wife. Susu had been Linus's first love. She arrived when he was still struggling, when the farmlands were small and the barns half empty. She bore him a daughter and believed deep in her heart that everything Linus would ever become belonged to her and her child alone. But life had a way of shifting things. When Linus married Maui, everything changed. Maui was gentle, soft-spoken, and hard-working. She never raised her voice. She never fought for attention. She didn't need to. Linus gravitated toward her naturally. He laughed more around her, rested better, found peace in her presence. And when Maui gave birth to a daughter named Twinkle, the balance in the house broke completely. Twinkle grew into a child that turned heads wherever she went. She wasn't just beautiful, she was graceful, the kind of girl who walked as if the ground respected her steps. She greeted elders properly, helped neighbors without being asked, and smiled with a warmth that made people forget their troubles. People whispered, "That child is special. She carries favor. She behaves like a queen." Linus adored her openly. He praised her kindness. He corrected her with patience. He taught her about the land, the farms, the harvest seasons, things he rarely shared before. And Susu watched. She watched how Linus's eyes softened whenever Twinkle entered the room. She watched how villagers greeted Twinkle before greeting her own daughter. She watched how even her own child faded into the background beside Maui's daughter. Susu's daughter, Apple, was nothing like Twinkle. Apple loved food more than dignity. She ate without restraint, spoke without thinking, and cared little for manners. She could abandon chores if there was soup on the fire. If food was involved, Apple would trade loyalty, truth, even blood. The villagers laughed behind their hands. That girl's stomach leads her. She would sell a family member for meat. Susu heard it all, and each comment burned her deeper. What angered Susu the most wasn't just that Twinkle was loved, it was that Linus trusted her. He often said things like, "One day, Twinkle will understand how to manage these lands. She has wisdom beyond her age. She reminds me of my late mother." Those words echoed like drums in Susu's head. Inheritance. That was the word that haunted her. Linus had lands that could feed generations, properties that could build dynasties. Susu knew that when the time came, Linus would not divide things blindly. He would give based on love, trust, and character. And in Susu's eyes, that meant one thing. Maui's daughter would take everything. Jealousy twisted inside her like a living thing. But Susu did not cry. She did not confront Linus. She did not fight openly. Because Susu had a secret. One she carried since girlhood. One buried so deep that even the spirits feared to whisper it. Susu was a witch. Not the kind that danced naked in the night or screamed in public. She was quiet, calculated, patient. And when she decided to act, she chose a day when fate left Maui alone. That morning, Maui went to the far farmland early, carrying her hoe and basket. The sun was still gentle, the dew fresh on the soil. Twinkle stayed behind, helping Linus organize grain in the barn. Susu watched Maui leave, then she followed. Deep into the farmland where no one could hear screams, Maui walked peacefully, humming to herself, unaware that danger walked behind her. Susu stood at a distance, removed a small charm wrapped in red cloth, and began to whisper words that did not belong to this world. The air thickened. The birds went silent. Maui turned, confused. "Susu," she called. "What are you doing here?" Susu did not answer. She raised her hand, and before Maui could scream, her body twisted, her bones folded. Where Maui once stood, a goat collapsed onto the soil, bleating in terror. Susu stepped forward calmly, her face blank. "You wanted peace," she whispered. "Enjoy it." She dragged the goat deeper into the bush and tied it to a tree near the edge of the land, where farmers kept animals temporarily. Then she wiped her hands, straightened her wrapper, and walked back home. That evening, Linus noticed Maui hadn't returned. By nightfall, panic filled the compound. "Where is your mother?" Linus asked Twinkle. Twinkle's heart dropped. They searched, they called, they waited, but Maui never came back. Days passed. No trace, no body, no explanation. Twinkle cried until her chest hurt, until her voice cracked. Susu became the loudest mourner. She ran from compound to compound. "Have you seen my co-wife? Please help us find Maui. My co-wife has vanished. Has anyone seen Maui? Ah, wicked world. How can a woman disappear like smoke?" She cried in public. She wailed at meetings. She even led search parties into the bush. The villagers pitied her. "See how she loves her co-wife. This woman has a good heart." But when night fell and the compound slept, Susu returned to the farmland alone. She untied the goat. Maui, trapped in fur and silence, staggered weakly to her feet. Susu laughed. She walked around the trembling goat slowly, mocking her. "Walk," she whispered cruelly. "Go back home if you can. Let them see what you have become." Then she released her. The goat ran, confused, frightened, driven by instinct and love. The next morning, Twinkle sat beneath the old orange tree, knees pulled to her chest. She hadn't eaten, she hadn't spoken to anyone. She prayed silently. "God, please bring my mother back." The goat entered the compound quietly. It walked straight to Twinkle. It sat beside her. The girl looked down. Their eyes met. The goat bleated softly, like it was trying to speak, trying to explain, trying to cry through another body. That was when Susu saw them. Her face changed instantly. She ran towards them, screaming. "Get away from her!" She kicked dust into the air, grabbed a stick, and chased the goat out of the compound. The goat cried as it ran back into the bush. Twinkle sat there crying. She didn't understand what was happening. That moment, under the orange tree, was the beginning of Twinkle's agony. Months passed. At first, the compound was filled with panic. Linus searched everywhere for Maui. He went from farm to farm, from stream to stream, asking questions, offering small rewards. Villagers shook their heads, some pitying him. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Slowly, the searching stopped. Linus accepted it the way men in the village often did, with silent grief and resignation. Maui was gone. No body, no trace, no explanation. Life had to continue, but Maui never truly left. Every morning, a brown goat with calm eyes wandered into the compound as if it had always belonged there. It slept near the kitchen, it drank from any bowl of water it found, it ate cassava peels, yam skins, and whatever crops were left unattended. No one questioned it. Goats were common in the village. Stray goats came and went all the time. What made this one different was Twinkle. Wherever Twinkle went, the goat followed. When Twinkle sat under the orange tree in the compound to read, the goat sat beside her. When Twinkle washed plates near the kitchen, the goat stood close, watching quietly. When Twinkle ate, the goat sat at a small distance, eyes fixed on her face. At first, villagers laughed. "See this goat and child friendship. Maybe the goat likes her spirit." Even Twinkle didn't think much of it. She only knew that when the goat was near, she felt calmer, safer, as though someone was watching over her. Susu, however, did not ignore it. From the beginning, the goat irritated her. It ate from the cassava pile she stored behind the kitchen, it chewed young crops at the edge of the farm, it drank water meant for cooking. Each time she saw it, her chest tightened with anger, because she knew. She knew exactly what that goat was. She watched how it followed Twinkle with unnatural devotion, how it sat beside her like a guard, how Twinkle unconsciously leaned toward it when she was sad. One evening, Susu exploded. "This useless goat has finished our food," she snapped. "It is destroying crops, it is drinking water anyhow." Linus frowned. "It's just a goat." "A stray goat," Susu insisted. "Tomorrow it will destroy more. We should kill it." Linus hesitated. "Kill it?" "Yes," Susu said quickly. "Sunday is coming. Let us slaughter it and make pepper soup. At least it will be useful." Linus shrugged. A goat was a goat. He didn't know it followed Twinkle everywhere. He didn't know it slept near her window at night. He didn't know what Susu truly meant by useful. So he agreed. "We'll kill it tomorrow," he said. That night, Twinkle slept. Her dreams were heavy, thick with images she didn't understand. Then she saw the goat. It stood by the riverbank, its eyes no longer calm but urgent. When it spoke, its voice wasn't the sound of a goat, it was her mother's voice. "Twinkle," it said, "listen to me." Twinkle froze. "When they cook me, do not eat it." Twinkle shook her head in the dream. "What?" "Do not eat anything cooked with my meat," the voice repeated. "Pack the bones quietly. Take them to the riverside. Bury them there." "Why?" Twinkle cried. The goat stepped closer. "Promise me," it said softly. "Promise me, my child." Twinkle woke up screaming. Her chest rose and fell rapidly. Sweat soaked her wrapper. The room was dark, silent. Her heart pounded. "It was just a dream," she whispered. But something inside her knew it wasn't. Morning came too fast. The compound buzzed with activity. Men sharpened knives, water boiled loudly, firewood cracked loudly. The goat was caught easily. It didn't resist, it didn't struggle. It only looked once toward where Twinkle stood. That look stayed with her. The meat was washed, cut and thrown into a large pot. Pepper, spices, scent leaves, everything was added generously. Soon, the smell of pepper soup filled the compound. People gathered. "Ah, this soup smells good. Susu, you tried." Susu beamed. She served everyone happily, laughing, moving around like a generous hostess. Then she turned to Twinkle. "Come," she said sweetly, "take your food." She handed Twinkle a full plate. The soup was steaming. The meat sat at the center. Twinkle stared at it. Her hands shook. The dream came rushing back. The smell was strong, spicy, inviting. The dream came back to her in pieces. The river, the goat's eyes, her mother's voice. Without thinking, Twinkle stood up. She walked quickly out of the house, her heart racing. No one noticed her leave. The compound was loud with laughter and chatter. Once she was far enough, she tipped the plate and poured the soup into the bush. She searched through the mess and picked the bones. Carefully, she wrapped them in a leaf. Then she ran. She ran all the way to the river, the same quiet spot where she fetched water every day. At the riverbank, she dug with her bare hands. She placed the bones inside, covered them gently, and whispered through tears, "I promise." From that day, everything changed. Months passed, and Susu's mask fell completely. With Maui gone, there was no one to protect Twinkle anymore. At first, it was words. "So your mother really abandoned you?" she would say casually. "Maybe she never loved you enough to stay." "You are here to serve Apple," Susu declared one morning. "Anything she tells you to do, you do. No questions." Apple smiled wickedly, and Twinkle obeyed. Whenever Linus was around, Susu pretended to be kind. She laughed, she praised Twinkle loudly, but the moment Linus left for the farm or traveled, Susu turned cruel. Twinkle did all the chores alone. Apple did nothing. Instead, Apple sat and ate. "Bring water, clean my slippers, wash my clothes again. I don't like the smell." Susu watched and smiled. One chore never failed to exhaust Twinkle the most: fetching water. Every day, under the scorching sun, Susu sent her to the stream. Sometimes twice, sometimes 3 times. "Go again," Susu would say coldly. "The water you brought is not enough." One afternoon, the sun was merciless. Twinkle's throat was dry. Her shoulders ached. Her feet dragged as she carried the heavy clay pot toward the stream. When she reached the river, she paused. Something had changed. At the spot where she buried the bones, a tree stood. Not a small one, a huge, strong tree, its branches wide, offering shade as if it had always been there. Twinkle froze. She was sure. That place had been empty before. She was the only one who could see the tree. Confused and tired, she walked closer and set the pot down. The shade felt cool against her skin. She sat beneath the tree and rested her back against its trunk. That was when she heard it. My daughter. Twinkle jumped up, heart racing. She looked around. No one. Do not be afraid, the voice said gently. It came from above her, from within the tree. Twinkle's knees weakened. The voice continued, soft and familiar. All will be well. Twinkle trembled. Who are you? Our enemies will get what they deserve. Patience, my child. Twinkle turned to run. Stay, the voice called. I will not harm you. It told her everything about the spell, about Susu. Tears streamed down Twinkle's face as she listened. When you buried the bones with obedience, I was restored to this form. Twinkle fell to her knees, sobbing. You are not alone, the tree said. Whenever you need help, come to me. But tell no one, it warned. No one must know about this tree or what I have told you. Twinkle nodded, wiping her tears. She fetched the water in silence and hurried home. She arrived late, too late. Susu was waiting. Where have you been? She snapped. Before Twinkle could answer, slap! Her cheek burned. Useless girl! You think because your mother disappeared, you can start misbehaving? Twinkle lowered her head and said nothing. That evening, the village crier's gong echoed through the air. Gong, gong, gong! All maidens of the village, prepare yourselves. The great festival is coming. The prince is ready to choose a wife. Excitement spread like wildfire. Girls screamed, mothers whispered, fathers smiled proudly. Inside Susu's hut, something dark flickered in her eyes. She smiled slowly.